Hey guys, it's Joy. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm doing a collaboration with Abby from Full-Time Wife Life, Julie from Stars of Jewels, and Christy from Organized Mom. You'll have to head over to the links in the description box below and check them out because they are going to have some fabulous curriculum choices for you guys to look at. So before we get into the curriculum, I want to tell you guys what method of education we use. We use classical education, and we also do classical conversations. What classical education is, it relies a lot on rote memorization for younger kids. It sounds boring, but it's not. My kids love it. They put a lot of it to song, and my kids love songs, and they really memorize it well. And what that actually creates in your brain is a very organized and structured way to memorize things. So think of it like pegs in a pegboard, and each peg is one of these memorized facts that you have, a timeline, math facts, science facts, things like that. And so as they get older, all of the information that comes in, they have these pegs, and the information that comes in, they can hang those on those pegs. So it's a really great way of organizing their brain. And my daughter is looking at me through the window going, "What are you doing, Mom?" And that is why we love classical education. We also participate in classical conversations. And what that is, it's actually a whole curriculum except your math and your language arts. And then it's also a community. And that community meets one day a week for 24 weeks out of the school year. They have a tutor who models the classical education for the parents and the kids. And it's just, the tutors are just moms like me. I've been a tutor for 4 years. And we love it. My kids love it. And we all really benefit from the community, the encouragement that I get from other moms, and just being surrounded by a community that is like-minded and striving for the same goals. Without further ado, let's dive right into the curriculum. This is from Confessions of a Homeschooler. It's a free printable that you guys can get. I believe it has 10 character studies, and so I think this is going to take us through our whole first semester this year. But as you can see, there's this really cool little poster that you can print out and hang up around, and then I just printed these off and stapled them together. It has the passage that you read. It has 4 days, and they're pretty much structured the same, but I love that it has it talks about the blessings of obedience and the consequences of sin. So it kind of pulls those things out so you can talk to your kids about them. Then it also has a weekly challenge and a weekly activity. And then at the very end, it has review questions, application, and prayer. So I don't think it's going to take us very long at all, but it's just perfect for the age span of kids that I have, ages 5 to 9. And it's going to be really, really great to be able to talk about these different character traits that I want them to have, and then be able to just revisit them each and every day. We use this daily learning notebook from Confessions of a Homeschooler. She is wonderful. You've got to go check out her site. I'll link these below. But I wanted to show you our last year daily learning notebook because it is fun to see it filled out and how we used it. I'm going to do the same thing this year. But it's great, as you can see, my daughter pulled it out and doodled on the page, but it's all in these plastic sleeves, and it's a great number practice, letter practice, all of these things like before and after and that kind of a thing. And I would help my daughter, and my older two would do their own, and there was a cursive notebook for my 3rd grader, and there was a kindergartner notebook for my kindergartner, and this is, of course, the pre-K notebook. And the kindergartner notebook looked very similar to this. And you can see it's looking a little dingy, so I do need to redo them for this year. But it even had, of course my preschooler can't tell time yet, but it was great. She would know the shorthand is pointing here and the longhand's pointing here. And so she would just kind of write those, or, write those, or draw them in, and then I would help her fill in the time some days. And then we had a thermometer right outside of our window in our schoolroom, so we would fill that in. And then she loved filling this out, and it a lot of times looked a lot like Rapunzel. And then she was able to, I would have a little sticky tab over to the side, and she was able to write the number word and just trace it. So it goes all the way up to 31. And then we did 100 days of school countdown. Obviously, we actually did make it to 100 days. She did not fill this in, but it was so fun to give her stickers, and she really enjoyed doing that with us, and my boys really enjoyed doing that. And I think we got donuts on the 100th day of school. This is really cute. She includes this, and it was so fun to see from the beginning of the year towards the end of the year how she could write her name better. And sometimes it just depended on how much or what kind of mood she was in, if she really wanted to try or not. I wanted to show you our calendar filled out. So we would do this calendar, and again, you can see it's just tracing for pre-K, and it's so wonderful. Then we have the weather, and then we can circle the most common weather for that month. It's just a really great way to reinforce spelling of the months of the year, spelling of the days of the week, numbers, you know, talking about weather and weather patterns and things like that. It's really great, and I am planning on doing the exact same thing to begin our school day this year. For my first grader, we're going to use Math UC, and their first grade program is called Alpha, and this is great because it comes with a DVD and you can pop it in, they can watch it every day, or they can just watch it the first day that it's introducing the new lesson, and it's really fabulous. It has this guy, and he's the one who leads the lessons. It's very easy to listen to. We just pop it in our computer downstairs, and my son puts his headphones on and listens to it. It also comes with the instruction manual and a test and activity booklet. And this is a sample page, so this is, it usually goes 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2F. So towards the beginning, it has the lesson practice. So 2A through 2C is usually lesson practice, and then 2E through 2F is the systematic review. So they are counting from 0 to 20 and writing it out. And so that is what they do the first 3 days. And then the last 2 days, and you can double those up if you want to, the last 2 days they do that same thing that they did in the lesson practice, but then they also have review on the back. So for my fourth grader, we were going to do Section 5-4 math this year. The reason we switched is because we do classical conversations, and eventually they use Saxon math, so I knew I would eventually switch. And my son struggled with his math facts last year, so I really enjoy the spiral approach that Saxon takes to math, and so that has been really helpful to him. And this is how they started out. They do a warm-up, you go over the new concept with them, or they can read it themselves. It's helpful to go over the lesson practice, and then there's this mixed practice that they work on by themselves. So I typically go over, well, last year it looked a little bit different, but we would do the warm-up and the new concept together, and then the lesson practice. And then either right after or later in the day, he would actually do the mixed practice on his own. This is what we are doing with my first grader. We did it last year. It's called Logic of English. We love it. It has the most fun games. My third grader last year and my preschooler would love to play the games with my first grader, and so it became kind of an all-school affair for us to play the games together in here. It's brightly colored. It's wonderful. He loves to do it, and the teacher's manual is so open and go. It's really easy. This book is a reading book, and it's also really great because it kind of reinforces the phonograms that they learn. So this, A says a, so these are all the a words, the a words, and the ah words. And not only does it go over phonograms and hit those really hard, it's also a spelling, reading, writing program all in one. And so it is very worth the price, in my opinion. And I do feel like this is for ages 4 to 7. So we're a little bit behind on this, but we're almost done with A. So I really feel like, and I've actually corresponded with her over Facebook, and she would be mad at me for saying behind. She'd say they're never behind, but we're about done with A, and so we're going to finish probably B and C, his first grade year. So that's where we're at with that. I do feel like because we're still in A, that he needs a little more handwriting, and so we do a reason for handwriting. And the reason I like this program so much is because they go through, and day 1 they learn a letter and do that, and day 2, or write a letter and practice it. Day 2 they have some words, and then by day 4 they write a scripture, and I really, really like that. For my fourth grader, we are actually doing Essentials, which is part of Classical Conversations. It actually meets in the afternoon on our community day, so all the way up until now we've only met in the morning, but now that he is hitting fourth grade, he starts this IEW program. It's Institute for Excellence in Writing. This year we're doing the medieval history-based writing lessons, so there's a student book and a teacher manual, and then we do this Essentials, and I would show you inside of it, but I have no idea what we're doing. We have our first meeting this week, actually, to kind of walk us through this guide and just tell us what we're going to be doing, or what we need to be doing each day with our kids. I know there's some charts that we need to copy and writing assignments and all this kind of thing. So this is all-inclusive. It is your English grammar, it is your writing, it even has a spelling program in the back, but we are actually not going to do the spelling program. So instead of doing that spelling, we're actually doing IEW Institute or Excellence in Spelling, but it's called the Phonetics Zoo. I think it was about $100 for this whole thing. However, you can see there's lists A, B, and C, so you could either use it with multiple children or you could use it several years in a row. So they pop in this CD. It's very student-led. I rarely helped him with his spelling last year, and it reads this rule, jingle, or hint several times, and then it reads the words, and then it uses them in a sentence, and then it goes back through and it spells the words so they can correct their mistakes. They go over that day after day, remembering a few more words each day and how they're spelled. Then by the end, either a week or 2 weeks, they have accomplished the list and they've gotten 100%, and then you can give them one of these cute little cards, and it has the little jingle on the back. And we just found a special place in our schoolroom to put them so he could kind of line them up and he could feel a sense of accomplishment for that. He really did like having those little cards as kind of his certificate to say that, hey, I passed this list. This is our foundations guide, and it is the bulk of our curriculum. So this is where we, besides math and language arts, the rest of our curriculum comes from here. So I wanted to show you on a weekly basis of what we do. So this is cycle 2. There are 3 cycles. So cycle 2, week 1, and we always have the Acts and Facts timeline cards, and they look like this. So this is the Egyptians one right here. There's 7 of them for each week, for 24 weeks. And so the Egyptians card, I usually pull 1 or 2 from each week, and I'll read them the back of the card because it tells why they were important in history, and it kind of tells some little snippets about them and things like that. And my kids love to learn about Egyptians. They're just a really fun culture to learn about, and sometimes we do activities to go along with that. Next, we have our history sentence, and this one is Tell Me About Charlemagne. So they're learning about Charlemagne. There's Pope Leo III. There's different names, Europe, and things like that, that we kind of tend to pull things out of the history sentence and expand on those. Now, there is 100 different ways to do classical conversations at home and classical education at home. This is just our way of doing it. I just wanted to show you how the rest of our curriculum usually falls into place. So for history, we like to take time to read or listen to The Story of the World. This is by Susan Wise Bauer, who is, if any of you know her, she really encourages classical education, and she's written The Well-Trained Mind. So we like to listen to these. So sometimes we'll pop them in the car if we have places we need to run. And so this is how we kind of supplement our history and learning about our history. But I will tell you, this is enough. Just having your kids memorize these key facts so they end up being little pegs in their brain is enough. But just to do more fun things at home, however you want to do it, we like to listen to The Story of the World, or I have the Usborne Encyclopedia of World History, so I like to pull that out and listen or read parts of that, and usually there's just like a little paragraph or 2 about Charlemagne, things like that. And I found a sheet online. Half a Hundred Acre Wood does lots of great link up sheets where it says, okay, week 1 and page whatever in the world history book. So that's really great. And I use that, and I'll try and link that below if I can find that. So then for geography, each week we have a different section of the world that we're learning about, or different things. Like week 1 is continents and oceans. So what we do each and every day during our school week for 4 days is we have, this is obviously through classical conversations as well, but it lists week 1 so that you can take a dry erase marker and mark them off as you find them. And it has a black line map, and the reason for the black line map is that eventually in classical conversations down the road they learn how to draw the world freehand, and so they need to get used to seeing it in black and white and not always colored like it is here. But that is what I use for my older son. My 2 littler ones, they actually have really colorful maps. I don't have those in yet because I ordered them and they're not in, but that's what we do every day for geography. So for week 1, we would find all the continents, we would label those, and we'd find all the oceans and label those, and usually there's a song that goes with it, and my kids love it, so we sing it and do it, or a lot of times we put a piece of candy on each continent and on each ocean. We just make it fun. And then for math, what we do is we have, this is skip counting, and I know it's weird that counting by ones is called skip counting, but they call it that. And so we just sing the songs over and over because they're each to a song. So they love it, we sing it, and sometimes that's all we do with it. Oh, that's usually all we do with it, because then we have our own math lessons that we do. Now for science is where we have a lot of fun, because the biomes and things like that, consumers, we're learning about planets and stars and things like that this week. So we really have a good time with science. One of the books that I really like that I picked up at a garage sale somewhere, or a secondhand store actually, is this, and it's the kids' nature book, and so it lists every day of the year. So August 11th, you can look and see what you're doing, what you can do for that day. It's just so much fun, especially in the winter time, because I feel like, a lot of times it's hard to think of things to do like in the winter, but it says, if there's snow on the ground, do this, or, go look at a pine tree and do this. And so it's really been fun. So whenever we're in the mood to do a lot more science, this is the book I first come to. And then for biomes, things like that, we usually go take a trip to the zoo, and we do field trips and things like that. And then each week at the community day, they do a science experiment or a science project. So that's really great. I feel like that's taken care of. And then we just do as much science as my kids are interested in. Some weeks we do it every day. Others we just do this over and over and over. And that's okay. For Latin, we typically there's a song to this, so we sing the song. The only other thing I do, and this is just on occasion, is we have the Song School Latin, and it's a DVD set, and it is fabulous. My kids love it. It's really simple, very easy to understand and listen to. So a lot of times what I do is, if we have a long drive in the car, and I don't think they're that long, maybe 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, but I will just pop this in, and they will be so quiet. They love to listen to it. And I don't have them watch it all the time, so it's kind of special. So they really enjoy that, and that has been our Latin supplement, I guess you could say. And then, like I said, on their community day, they do a science experiment, and they also do fine arts. The first 6 weeks is drawing, and they learn about how to draw and the basic shapes. So I apologize for this horrible video, but I just wanted to show you what some of our extracurriculars are going to be for school. We're going to do Spanish through an outside teacher, and then we're going to do keyboarding without tears for our keyboarding this year. And I wanted to show you that you can actually come on and register for a free demo right here, and it has all the different levels, and it's K through 5th grade. And I really am excited about it. I had a friend who used it, and she loved it, and we've used Handwriting Without Tears for years. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. For my 5-year-old daughter, she is not starting kindergarten this fall. She is going to be pre-K again. And this is from Confessions of a Homeschooler. It's her K4 curriculum. I love it. I bought it with my older son, so it's probably updated since then. But I have used it for both of my boys, and it just has these cool puzzles. I've laminated all of it and printed it all out, and truly I've never regretted it, because we have used it with every kid, and we're going to again use it for my daughter. Now she will go to preschool 2 days a week, 2 afternoons a week, so she will be doing that, but she's with us all morning, and then she will be with us 2 of the afternoons a week, I guess, because one day is our community day. So I always have I like to have these. This is all the lesson plan, and then it has like letter writing practice. It has all of these, and like, what does the word start with? Write the letter. What does it, end with and begin with, and all these. You can make up funny words and all these. Then these are little readers. You can actually cut it out and staple it or fold it or whatever, but I just left it as paper. And then, you just all these different things. There's so many. Oh, I wrote on those. But I have really, really loved this, and I think it will be perfect for her for this year. She loves this kind of thing, and there's a ton of ways to go and find, different things like this. But this is all in one place, and it's colorful, it's cute, and I tell you what, like I said, I've just never regretted printing all of this out and taking the time to do it because we have just really loved it. So there you can kind of see some of the fun things. The alligator, they learn equality, which the alligator eats the bigger number, that kind of thing. So it's really great. And I love the fact that I can just grab something out of here. I don't necessarily follow the lesson plans anymore for this, but this has been a lifesaver, especially because, you know, when my first one, I had more time to do all this. I'm glad I did it because now I can just grab and go and we're off to the races.